All right, back with another edition. This time a 2-for-1, kind of. All right, so let's talk about the news. I guess last week, as I move around my feet and it moves my podium. Um, Last week I talked about the offensive, or not the offensive, the coaching staff changes. There's going to be change on the outside linebacker coach because Ubre left, or Urbre? I don't know. Never learned
A
how to pronounce
rebate or something. I think it's your
Yeah.
rebate, but I don't know.
Anyway, went to the Cowboys. I thought it was going to be Jarvis Jones. A lot of people thought it was going to be Christian Robinson. I was not going to be. No offense to Christian Robinson, not attached to Todd Grantham. Not my forte. But instead, Kirby went a completely different. Like what I'm actually kind of surprised by this. They got Johnny. His name is not Johnny. Larry Knight, and he's the new outside linebackers coach. He was hired at West Virginia in January as the edge and pass rush specialist. Which, what a fancy way of saying something. And then he was he coached at Temple. And he just got hired. His defense was first in the Sun Belt last year, which, let's see. Oh, he was the D coordinator at Arkansas State.
Okay.
So he's had some.
Was he D coordinator at Temple?
No, I think he was a position coach at Temple.
Okay. All
I didn't
right.
do a whole lot of research. Bet on me, but it just happened just a couple hours ago. I guess I should have looked more into it. Let's see.
Well, don't feel bad. Dog Nation didn't have it either as of 30 minutes before we got on to do the.
That's true too. Also, if you go on West Virginia's page about him, he pops up as a white guy, but he's not. He's not a white guy. That's actually kind of bad on West Virginia. Anyway, he's at Georgia Tech. Okay, he was outside. Let's see here. He had stints as a defensive line, defensive recruiter with Georgia Tech from 19 to 22. Was at Temple from 17 to 19. He was outside linebackers coach at Georgia State from 2015 to 2016. While at Georgia Tech, Knight helped the Yellow Jackets sign the second highest recruiting class in program's history, ranking in top 25 in 2020. Didn't do a whole lot with that, did they? And he also spent time in the NFL with the Atlanta Falcons. Defensive quality control coach at Tennessee under Butch Jones. Graduate assistant at Cincinnati. So,
Where did he play? Did he play college ball
Central
somewhere?
Michigan. He's a Butch Jones dude. Now that I've done a little bit more digging,
Well, he
he's
has
a champion
connections.
for life.
Well, he also has some coaching stints in the South. So,
He's from
that's
Augusta.
you got to be able to recruit if you're going to be on Kirby's staff. And one of the things that Kirby did say a couple weeks back is when it comes to pass rush, we've got to do better in terms of affecting the quarterback. So, that would be in his focus. But I agree with you. Some of the coaching, I don't like the connection necessarily with Butch Jones, but. We'll see. I think, we should be better. We'll see if he makes an impact because I will agree I thought, in my opinion, humble opinion, I know it's not how Kirby's defense, but when we had a couple of years ago, we had a couple of pretty dynamic outside pass rushers, and we didn't seem to we maximize those as much as we could have. So we'll see what happens with this guy.
Evidently, he has also a different approach. Georgia had more of a, field-based pass rush, more counter-ready. And this guy, according to these notes here, more read-based pass rush. Not to get really into the weeds on it, but seems like there's going to be at least a different approach from how the defensive ends moving. I mean, last year with the end of the year success they had pass rushing, they changed their defensive alignments and they were twisting and stunning more than they had ever under Kirby. Kirby never did that until
I agree.
At the midpoint of the season.
And then losing, was it Quintavious and Gabriel at the end of the year?
Oh, injury? An injury?
Yeah. That hurt. We'll see. I don't know. The guy, like I said, if you're going to be on Kirby's staff, you got to be able to recruit. And the fact that he's got ties to the Southeast and is from this area, I think is probably over the edge. But I agree with you. I'm surprised Jarvis Jones didn't get a look too. I mean, he just took Carver to the state. I think their first state championship in a long time. Yeah.
So, well, I mean, it's whatever. All right, now let's talk about the really bad thing here. So Georgia basketball's kind of fallen off the wagon since the last time we talked about them. I did talk about them last week for a minute, my Georgia basketball minute. And I know Jeremiah Wilkinson's out. He's been out for the past 2 games against Florida and then Oklahoma. There was no reason why Georgia should have lost that game against Oklahoma. They only won 2 games in conference play. There was literally nobody at the stadium or arena for Oklahoma. Oklahoma's not that good this year. And they were shooting the lights out of it. And I understand they got hot and they were shooting threes. And Georgia got into a hole and then dug themselves back out of it. And they had a 10-point lead in the second half and did nothing with it. And it seemed like they could never get going again after that. The closing of the first half, they did a really good job closing that first half. Then after halftime, they just sucked. So they didn't really slip too much in the tournament, bracketology or whatever the hell it's called. And I really don't know how that works. That's way above my head on how it works. But Georgia's still, I guess, in it. They're one of the last teams with a first-round bye. So they're going to be a lower seed. And if they can close out, they should be in the tournament at the very least. But I got to tell you, this whole thing with Mike White, it's not really working out the way that you thought it was going to work out. And there's really no reason that Georgia's not in the upper echelon of the SEC, considering that Auburn's down, and who knows how long they're going to be down for. They've done a good job, I guess, with Pearl stepping down and his son coming in coaching, but they're down. Kentucky had a rough start at the start of the season. They're a little bit better. There's no reason, though, that Georgia's not one of the best teams in the SEC. And I don't know what you have to do from here. I mean, he's recruiting guys.
Well, he just had an extension.
Yeah.
And he also got a raise.
Mm-hmm.
$3.91 million, I think, is what it was reported. But, I thought at the beginning of the season, Georgia had a little juice, a little momentum, and I liked the way they played. But this time of the year is not when you want to start stalling out. So they got some things to correct and maybe some guys to get healthy. But did you hear that game made national news, right?
No, because of the popcorn machine caught on fire?
Yeah, the concession stand inside the arena at Oklahoma caught on fire. So that was my big takeaway. I did watch a little bit, but I didn't watch any of the second half. I had other things to do.
I had Chuck and Scott broke it down for me on the popcorn machine getting on fire, and Chuck said it did not smell good. So I trust his sense of smell. But I don't know. I just in the women's basketball team, I know this is a very hard left to talk about, but they haven't had a very good season, but they knocked off Vanderbilt, who's number 5 in the country. They played pretty well, but the lack of imagination at Georgia Athletics to make the basketball program as good as Kentucky or Florida or Arkansas is really damning. I mean, there's no reason why Georgia should not be with Alabama and Auburn. Alabama is one of the better teams in the conference, and they're a quote unquote football school like we are, and
they were never a power in basketball. Years ago, Auburn wasn't either until Pearl really got there. So, Arkansas was for years, but and obviously Kentucky. But Yeah, I agree with you. With no rules and NIL, there's no reason that Georgia shouldn't be, better than what we've seen over this year. I thought they were going to be a little bit better. So it is so far. Season's not over, but it's a little disappointing.
Yeah, and here's the other thing too, and I don't really want to get way into the weeds of this, but this does fall. It falls on Mike White for sure, but this falls also on Josh Brooks. At some point where we're going to have this conversation about him. He's done a lot of good things with the program, but recently the hires that he's made, they haven't really produced all that much. I mean, look at Georgia's gymnastics. It's not at all where it once was. The baseball team is not where it could be. It's going to get better, I assume, but it's still not where it needs to be at. And women's basketball has completely fallen off after the Andy Landers year. And then you had a coach, Joni Mitchell. She left. Now you got this woman in, and it seems like it's turning around. But, his hires haven't been all that great. And I think, eventually, if more stays the same or all this stays the same, we're going to have to start having a conversation about what we need to do as an athletic program.
Well, the fans also have to demand on the big three, right? Baseball, basketball, and football. They've got to demand more. And Georgia's never been a basketball school, so I don't know if it's some of that also doesn't fall on the fan base of letting the AD and the athletic department know that we do care and we would like to have a exciting reason to watch basketball on the March 16th and have a rooting interest. We just haven't as a fan base. And whenever I went to Georgia, it was, in the early 90s, it was absolutely not even thought about to go to a Georgia men's basketball game. And that was right after Herrick, I think, had gotten us busted. So,
right. Yeah, it's not where it needs to be. And I don't, obviously, look, would I trade a football national championship for a basketball national championship? No. But, and they're not the same thing. But it would be nice just to have a program that is, rootable and can win at a consistent level. I don't think that should be the expectation every single year.
I think being in the tournament or making a run, an SEC tournament, and then making a run in March Madness, that every once in a while, I think last time we did that, we won in that 2008 when a tornado hit Atlanta, so that was an anomaly. Never, so that's the last time we won SEC. And then before that, it was in the 84, I think.
Well, no,
yeah,
on the 84 team, but yeah.
83, 84, I think, was whenever we were pretty good under Hugh Durham.
I think this is the last time Georgia's been to back-to-back tournaments.
Yeah,
which is that should not be at all acceptable. It just shouldn't be. So I don't really.
Fan base have to demand more too. So I agree with what you said about Josh Brooks, but we as a fan base at Georgia need to show that we care a little bit more. I don't know how we do that, but probably not showing up for games like we did under what's his name last couple of years. Yeah.
Well, they were so bad at the point of showing up.
Right.
So, yeah. Anyway, also, side note, when Kirby said that he doesn't work for the fan base, technically, bro, you kind of do. So, I didn't like that comment, to be honest with you. Because then, like a couple weeks later, they're asking us to give money to the program through their not collective. So, I mean, you kind of do work for the fan base.
I didn't hear the context. I'd have to hear whatever for that. But I don't.
And the transfer portal and how fans aren't too thrilled about it. And he said, "Well, I don't work for the fan base."
Well, maybe one of the ways that I would take that is I don't let the fan base make my decisions as a football coach because I have to use my judgment. Right? I mean, that could be another way to take that. I have to use my judgment as a professional coach, college coach, to evaluate these things and make the best decision for the program to win now and also to win in the future. So I don't know what he meant by that, so I'm not going to. But, yeah, he's a Georgia State employee. It's the highest. If you look, highest payroll, highest state employee is always the coaches. Yeah. Well, so look at Alabama, same thing. But yeah, it's almost all states.
So you do work for the fan base technically. So I didn't like that answer too much. He should have just went with what you said. But whatever. All right. Well, that's just the news and notes. We'll be on the other side, and we're gonna do some evergreen content because there's really not a whole lot to talk about. Look, we legged out 3 topics for 15 minutes. There is not a lot to talk about. So remember to like and subscribe. Follow us on social media at Terminus Sports _ATL. That's X, Instagram, and TikTok. Give us a like on here. Give us a thumbs up. And subscribe. We appreciate everyone that's subscribing. So any other things before we go on?
Not for me.
All right. We'll see you in the next video.
See ya.